Picture this, so I'm 13 years old and I'm leaving high school to walk home with my friend and a couple of girls. Like, he's kind of interested in one of the girls and the other girls are just, friends with her or something. And I'm this little skinny, fat, brown kid who's never had attention from girls before. So how do you think I behaved on this walk home? Do you think I was there, stood upright with good body language and, like impressing the girls through my confident mannerisms? Or do you think I may have been a fucking clown? I remember times walking home with this group, a couple of cute girls who were my age, and I thought it was a good idea to start pretending I was a soldier, drop down like on my stomach on the grass nearby and start like army crawling to I don't know, make them laugh or to get attention from them. I'd get mud and shit on my school shirt, but I'd literally be there, like I'm talking literally laid down on the floor, army crawling and pretending to shoot guns and shit at them, thinking that, because they used to look at me, right? They used to look, they used to laugh, and it would validate me in some sense that they were giving me some attention because I didn't know the skill of just being able to stand next to them and just talk confidently about myself and ask them questions and tease them. I had to do this clown shit to get any kind of validation from girls. Really think to your mind, answer this question in your mind right now. Do you think I got any of them? Do you think a single one of those girls was as attracted to me, that version of me which was desperate for their attention, compared to if I was just a little bit more confident? These days I see so many young men who are like clowns, like entertainers for girls, where it's basically you carrying all the conversation, you're texting her and you're asking the interesting questions and she's just enjoying the ride, like she's not even bouncing back ideas with you, she's not even funny, she's not even intelligent. Most guys that I see are trying to get attention from a girl that they don't even respect or think is like a good quality woman, but they do it just because they're so deprived of intimacy, so deprived of connection with other people, that getting some average girl that you don't like who just replies back to you is still like a nice thing. I think as men we need to stand up, increase our standards and stop this bakwas of this like sort of low tier little beta male game of attracting girls where you're acting like a clown, you're embarrassing yourself, you're making jokes about yourself and you're roasting yourself or your friends in front of girls. You're trying to just do everything it takes to make her laugh. Basically you're just trying to entertain her, and why is that? Why would a man put in so much of this energy for a woman? Because you've put her on a pedestal and you see her as above you. And here's the worst part. What happens when you act like a clown towards a girl? How is she gonna see you? She's not gonna look at you in like a sexual way. Bro, her pussy's not gonna get wet when you're embarrassing yourself and you're acting proper goofy. The truth is that you don't actually want to be the clown entertainer. You want to be the guy who gets her, right? But you don't have the confidence to integrate the personality that you know deep down that would do best to attract her. You know it, but it's kind of repressed in your own mind. What kind of personality of yours would attract a woman the most and actually turn her on the most? It wouldn't be you goofing around and loudly laughing and, telling embarrassing jokes about yourself. It wouldn't be you saying like random, like crazy shit or doing stupid shit like dropping down and commando crawling through the floor. It would be more of that sort of James Bond, cool, slow vibe where you stare into her eyes and you speak to her deeply and you can still laugh and tell jokes, but there's a different energy behind it. There's like, I'm this confident guy. I like myself. I'm a hard worker. My mind is on my big goals. That's what I'm working on. You're a cute girl. I'll talk to you for a while. That's like an attractive energy that men can have. But a lot of young guys have a completely opposite energy, which is like, I have nothing going on in my life. You're so amazing. You're so cute. I would do anything for you. I can save you. I'll try and make you laugh. I'll try and like entertain you. It's to keep you stimulated so you don't keep checking your phone next to me because it hurts when you reply to people next to me. Be honest, like of your recent interactions with women, which one have you been more like? And how did it go for you? Did you get the girl? Because when I've acted like this, I look back over the years that I've been in the dating scene, it's never worked. It's never worked to get a new girl's attraction in the first place. And you know what's interesting? I can imagine a bunch of guys in relationships saying like, oh no, but I'm like goofy with my girlfriend, it's fine. What I've noticed time and time again is that when I turn on this like goofy clown energy, even in a relationship, it starts to like be a disservice to the relationship. Like if you attract a girl from being that cool, confident Chad, you're acting like James Bond, you've been working on your mission, your big goals, you're working on your business, fitness, everything, you're flirting with her, you've got like your deep voice and you stare into her eyes on the first few dates that you've been to. That's what she's attracted to. When you eventually turn into like the goofy farting boyfriend who leaves like poo-poo stains in the toilet and you're like laying down next to her, your fat rolls are sticking out and everything, and you're not like flirting with her the same way, you're not teasing teasing her, you're not taking her out to those sexy dates anymore, and you've become like this goofy clown who's just trying to make her laugh. Although she'll act like, oh, this is so cute, you know, like you're so close together and everything, you've got your inside jokes, she'll always be looking out for that guy who isn't as much of a clown. And if you're not taking up that position in the relationship, she might find it a little bit difficult the next time she walks past like this attractive Chad who's still got a nice haircut whilst you've been letting yourself go. This guy who's been grooming himself to perfection whilst you haven't been. You know, you've been getting a little bit more relaxed with like your grooming, your beard, your physique. This other guy is speaking to her in that sexy way where he pierces her eyes and he talks deeply and slowly, whereas you've been speaking to her in a much faster, needy kind of way where you're just trying to make her laugh. This is how I think a lot of relationships crumble. A man starts acting in this like goofy way, which can be fine, it can be funny, but it's nowhere near as sexy as you acting in that sort of masculine way. Because just picture two of our favorite people. Picture how Jeffrey would go about speaking to a new girl. Let's say he's finally picked up the courage to speak to a girl in the gym. He's gonna go cold approach. Imagine his energy where he randomly would start making like self-deprecating jokes about himself to just try and make her laugh. On the other hand, imagine how Adonis would go and do the same cold approach. Would he start roasting himself and giggling loudly next to the girl? Or would he speak to her in a very like flirtatious, sexy, like charming way with his deep voice, slowly talking, piercing eye contact, take a number down? Which one is going to have a better impact on the girl? Which one do you want to be more like? I actually don't think most guys want to have that sort of self-deprecating clown humor, but it's almost like a defense mechanism when you feel a little bit uncomfortable and intimidated and you don't know what to say in a situation. It's quite easy to just turn on that sort of jokey side of you. And don't get me wrong, right? Don't get me wrong. This isn't to say to not tell jokes or to have laughs, especially with guys. Like I'll make these videos and I basically always tell you like some funny mistake that I did, right? So I was 13 years old and I was commando crawling over the grass to try and get attention from girls. When you're with the boys, we can open up and tell stupid stuff of like what we did, we were losers, we did this. We can tell that sort of self-deprecating joke to each other because it's like a funny, relatable experience. Because I'm not trying to fuck you. When I'm with my male friends, we're not thinking about like being attracted to each other. So we can tell things that makes us feel like, you know, reminds us of those days that we weren't as cool. But you don't want to act in that way to a woman who is constantly analyzing if you are worthy of her sex, her body, her love, her intimacy, her commitments. Even if you're in a committed marriage with an amazing woman, she subconsciously is always evaluating you. In fact, there was a lesson I want to give you, which I'm sure like a lot of people will disagree with, but I really think this will help you in your future relationships with women. No matter how close you get to a woman, married with children, been together for 70 years, always expect that only 95% of her can be on your side and can like you. 5% of a woman, or whatever percentage, but I just say 5, in a woman is always looking out for your mistakes and your inadequacies and your failures and setbacks. Basically, there will always be a small part, no matter how much she says she loves you, inside of a woman where she's subconsciously evaluating you and she's almost hoping to see signs that you've become more like a beta little bitch Jeffrey, that then she might even consider not being with you. Even if you're in such a cute, wholesome relationship, she can never 100% commit because it's like it's a woman's survival instinct to make sure she constantly analyzes her man to make sure that he is like this strong man who has great genes and is strong and fit and can provide. And we as men really know this. If you've woken up from a lot of the bullshit conditioning that a lot of men have been through, when I said that little figure, 95% of her likes you, but a small part of her will always be kind of making sure that you're still a strong guy, because if you're not, she might want to jump ship. The guys who kind of understand women will know exactly what I'm talking about. But it makes me wonder why the baseline, like it's the natural state of men in the modern day who don't understand women and start being like these clown entertainers to her. Like if I asked you that question, what would you think? Why are so many men clowns? Why are so many men just trying to entertain women instead of themselves or presenting their best self? It's because of a few things, in my opinion. The first thing I think of is Hollywood movies and that sort of, you know, the media. The type of shit we saw growing up where the nerd who obsesses over the girl eventually gets her from the jock. Every movie you watch which had like some kind of teenage romance, it was the same paradigm where it was the low status beta male. They were trying to like literally appeal to us. And he, you know, really wants this girl. He's obsessed over her, but the other guy's fucking fucking her right now, like the big jock's fucking her. And then this nerd obsesses over her so much that eventually he's there to save her, and then she actually falls in love with him, and he's basically like aligned his life to get the girl. That's what they conditioned us to believe was like an attractive way to navigate your relationships with women. And of course, like we now know as adults, like of course it's not. Aligning your life to a woman and obsessing over her and basically stalking her, trying to like get her and save her from herself, even though she wants that jock, like that powerful, strong man. We know that this just makes you that simp who's constantly in, you know, her DMs messaging and she won't even meet you. I think another reason why there's so many guys who are just entertainers, and you probably have thought of this as well, is because of feminism. It's this weird dynamic that we all grew up at this time where there was so much pressure for us to admit that women didn't have equal rights, and so that we needed more like women's movements. Whereas none of us really had the confidence to say this back then, but like we all thought it. It's like women don't have equal rights. They've got superior rights. And so we shut up because we were all pussies, and they basically shit tested us and shoved feminism down our throats and our minds. They poisoned women with that. And then we had to just kind of sit there and think, oh yeah, they are kind of like the superior sex now. We have to kind of like, you know, do and be really polite to them and you know, be really serving to them. And of course, that's going to make you more of like a little entertaining clown when you've been told all this time that women are, you know, so hurt and vulnerable and they're so like worse off than men. But the final one, what's happened in the last few years, it's the inflated egos of a lot of modern women because of how like the dating and degeneracy has went. You already know how this works. Like basically even average girls have got such high egos because so many guys want to fuck them, because most guys are like completely degenerate and have low standards, and you know, even like a 9 out of 10 guy is like trying to sleep with like a 5 out of 10 girl these days, just because it's a, you know, it's like a late night smash for him. What she doesn't realize is that he doesn't actually really want anything serious. Or maybe she does realize that, but then her expectation of a man is completely different now. That 5 out of 10 that actually was on your level will now think that you're far below her because she's used to fucking guys who are 8s and 9s, and now she won't want to settle with a guy who's actually on her level, up until those 8s and 9s don't want to sleep with her anymore 5-10 years from now. And that's when she'll find like a nice little fucking bitch to partner up with. And that's your reward for being a hardworking man, a law-abiding citizen for 10 years. You know, you're 30 years old, you get to wife up a woman who other guys had in one night, and you have to commit to her, and she'll almost always be thinking that you're not even that great because she's been used to guys who only wanted to stay for the short term, but her mind convinced her that they actually were on her level. And so then of course, like, since there's that kind of paradigm where she feels above you, you feel like in some ways you need to put her on a pedestal and entertain her and, you know, like align your life into making her laugh and stimulate her. And then the problem with this whole space of dating is that young men have been given really poor advice on how to navigate this, because at first you've got that bullshit conditioning, you know, feminism and being a weak little crybaby about girls and everything. But then you get into this sort of online content space where we talk about like dating, and so many men end up dropping out of the dating market thinking, oh, it's just not worth it, you know, it's so difficult to attract a girl, which it kind of is, but only like where you're at right now. There's girls who go viral on the internet because, you know, they're like really negative and hateful, and so the sort of negative message goes really viral. But what you're not seeing is like there's still literally millions of cute, single, beautiful, feminine, like wife quality women all around the world who just aren't loud on social media. They're just not loud. Like, you know, they've got 300 followers on like a private Instagram page. They're not going viral. They're not going onto podcasts to shout about men ain't this and I want a guy who's on 7 figures or some bullshit. And so you often don't see just how many women, like normal, healthy women there are, like gorgeous women who literally just want like a normal life. They want a hardworking man. They don't even expect you to be on like looks maxing. They just want you to work hard to be able to provide, and they want you to like not be abusive, and then they'll think your husband material for that. And these are like some beautiful women from like low-key non-Western places, like, I don't know, Colombia, Thailand, Brazil, maybe some Eastern European places. And a lot of men are now actually deciding to like go over to those places because you don't have to entertain those women. It's something we've got to talk about. This concept of feeling like women's got massive inflated egos and you almost have to entertain them and stimulate them, otherwise they'll go and sleep with some other guy. Honestly, that's more of like a Western thing. Now, there's countries which aren't in the West which have the same problem. Like, for example, India has like a big problem with this. But in general, it's like these Western countries, UK, US, Australia, that has this problem with the dating market. And There's a reason why so many men are just choosing to like drop out of these dating markets and then move their attention elsewhere to different kinds of women. Now, there certainly is a lot of Western women who are still actually really high quality, feminine and everything. But obviously we all seeing like that decline. And of course, then the amount of effort that a man wants to put into dating and then into himself and working hard declines as well. So what exactly do you do? Like, I want to give you some practical advice to stop being a clown, start living like a really great life, which is attractive to girls, and actually be that kind of confident guy who girls want to be with, and you don't feel like you're some clown. The single biggest thing you can do is to set yourself some massive goals that really, really mean a lot to you. So the goal is like, for example, you know, getting really fit and building a really aesthetic body. The goal is leveling up in your business or doing so well in your studies. That becomes kind of like your mission, your purpose layer as a man. And that becomes like what starts to take up all your thoughts. And when you start getting obsessive thoughts over a girl, which does happen, you almost meditate back on the goal of, you know, making the money, getting the grades or getting fit. And you just keep bringing your mind back there to keep generating more thoughts and ideas on how to improve even further. Then when you start spending time with girls, you'll notice you actually act like a lot less of a pussy when you've got really big goals, because you have like this extra level of respect for yourself. So you stop bending over backwards for them. You stop doing things that you didn't really want to do just to kind of hang out with the girl. You start having that level of self-respect where you stop focusing just on her entertainment and rather a bit more of yourself. You start telling jokes not just to make her laugh, but to make yourself laugh. Setting big goals, aligning your life to it, and then really grinding hard to achieve those goals is the way that you start to get self-love and self-respect. So once you have that, you'll stop being like this clown who's willing to, you know, tell these self-deprecating jokes. I look back, you know, it was cute, it was wholesome. I'm 13 years old, so I'm not like judging myself that much. But I do look back and just think of how different things could have been if I actually had like a goal that gave me a sense of accomplishments and self-worth. I wouldn't have been that clown who was getting his school uniform dirty just to get a shred of attention and recognition from the girls. I would have been more of that confident guy just walking with the girls, asking them questions, teasing them, having a fun time with them. And then maybe one of them would have turned into like my girlfriend back then. So even if you're not even a young guy in high school, but you know, you're 20, 25 years old and you still be like struggling in the dating market, I really want you to just consider living more of that sort of like James Bond lifestyle where you have that big mission that you really care about that takes up your mind, and you like women integrated into your life, but you'll never do that clown shit where you'll just embarrass yourself just so that she laughs a little bit. With that level of self-respect, you'll actually get more attraction, like primal sexual attraction from women, and you'll also just respect yourself more, which is really nice. A great way to develop yourself really quickly is to get onto the Adonis Protocol. It's the top link in the description, completely free. Scroll down right now, go click on that top link, go find Adonis Protocol on that website, and it's like, it will literally take you from 0 to 100. Click and watch this video right now, do the hard work, especially when you don't feel like it. Mwah!